as she played the role of Becca Dean in Hollyoaks, and many of you will remember her for her roles in the iconic police drama The Bill.
Love The Bill.
And of course Doctors.
Love Doctors.
Please welcome actor Ali Bastian to the 6 o'clock
show. Ali, a huge welcome. Firstly, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, honestly.
No, not at all. And you and I go back to the early noughties.
We do.
We were hanging out in London at all the parties, the soap awards. We'll take that during the break. Many of our viewers will recognise you from Hollyoaks, The Bill, of course, Doctors. You've done so much. But tell us, how did you first get into acting?
I was a child actor, actually, so it was just something I always wanted to do from a really little age. And actually, I didn't have anyone in the family that was, I wasn't like good acting stock or anything like that. But I just, it was really like a burning desire for me, really. And so I went to a stage school locally to me. Like, luckily there was a place up the road, and I used to go to my little dance classes and drama classes, and they had an agency, so I started working professionally when I was 10. Wow. And
that's so young.
I know.
10 years old.
10 years old.
Did you realise you were working, or were you just having so much fun?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I felt so at home. I don't know, I guess I was used to being around adults, and I went to stage school full time when I was 10 years old as well. And we would just, I don't know, we'd all sit in assembly in the morning and they'd say, right, Ali, you've got a casting this afternoon, go and get, we'd have £5 in the office, we'd have to go and get it, and that was our audition money to get the train to go up for our castings. And it was just, it was kind of...
The train on your own or with someone?
No, with a chaperone. Sorry, with a chaperone.
How do you go from, full-time stage girl to landing a gig in Hollyoaks?
It didn't happen overnight, to be honest. It's not, acting is so, media is unpredictable, and you never know what's around the corner. And I'd auditioned for different things. I'd had a few different roles as I was growing up. And then I remember my agent calling and saying, go for this audition, but it was a great big open casting, so there were loads of people there. And she said, oh, not in your wildest dreams, just go and see what happens. And I was like, OK. And off I went, and then didn't hear anything. And then about 2 months later, they called me up to Liverpool, and I went for casting, and there were about 30 people. And then I went up the next day for a recall, and there were six of us there and 5 parts. And luckily, the 5 of us that got the jobs all got called at the same time on the train going back to London. And
poor number 6.
I know.
Where's number 6 now? Just for number 6.
I know, right?
She lost out.
She really did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the iconic show, The Bill.
Yeah.
Working on that must have been amazing.
That was another unexpected sort of twist and turn, really. I'd finished Hollyoaks, and I knew I was ready to make a change. I'd been up there for 6 years, and so moved back down south and got an audition for a guest actor. Didn't get it, and so I was like, oh, no, didn't get it. Then got called in to go... Yeah, exactly. Then got called in for the next day again because they were looking for a new regular. And so I managed to sort of sneak into the last round of recalls and got the job as PC Sally Armstrong.
So, living and working successfully in London, what brought you to West Cork?
To put it into words, I love it. I've always loved it here. My husband's family are from there, so his grandfather had built a house by the sea.
Oh, lovely.
That they'd all through David's childhood. David's my husband. He'd spent sort of half of the year out here. But really, it came from me, actually. I just knew we needed a bit of a circuit breaker, and we needed a change. We were living in the city in London with 2 little kids, and the lifestyle, I just couldn't keep up, really. It was a lot. And honestly, was burning out a little bit, but I didn't realise how much. And I knew I needed to heal. And I think that was part of the calling to move to West Cork, because it's just the most beautiful environment and the kindest people and the most wonderful communities.
Us Irish people are amazing, Ali.
You are amazing. And I feel very, very grateful to live here. I really do. So we made...
I love how you said it was healing as well. Well, of course, the last year has been such a whirlwind for you and your family, Ali. Could you take us back, if you can, to the summer of 2024 when you found out you had cancer?
Yes, I will try to. I'm so newly out of this as well. I feel I actually only finished my radiotherapy about 2.5 weeks ago, so it's really fresh.
You go at your own pace.
Yeah.
There is no
Thank you.
pressure at all, and obviously share what you're comfortable
Thank you.
sharing. So take your time.
Yeah, I mean, so we just moved. We were a few weeks into living here, and David got some work back in London. And my littlest I was still breastfeeding, and she went on a bit of a feeding frenzy, and she started feeding bleeding through the night again, and I got really sore, and so I felt myself, and I felt I found a lump, basically, and it was a Sunday morning, and I managed to get into the out of hours within a couple of hours. And at the beginning, it was suspected mastitis or a blocked duct, and it really did present like that. And then I went to see my GP in the end because just nothing was changing. And I think, you know, I was given antibiotics, and with a blocked duct or mastitis, you probably would feel things start to improve, and nothing was changing. And so I've just felt really strongly I need to go to the clinic. And so I went up to the amazing Orchid Centre at CUH. And even then, at the beginning, it was still suspected to be possibly related to breastfeeding. And then it wasn't until I got my scans and then biopsies, and then everything changed. It's
probably a stupid question, but what was the day you got the diagnosis? It's not mastitis, it's cancer. What goes through your mind in a moment like that?
Oh, I just remember everything going it's like everything speeds up and sort of goes silent all at the same time, almost like a real sensory experience. And like, oh my God, like what is going to happen? What am I going to do? What about my children? What about, you know, all of the sort of panic and shock. I think the shock goes on for a long time, and probably in some ways I am still processing that. Really. But yeah, I just suppose that's why, as well, for me, being part of something like Daffodil Day, and during my treatment, it became quite a focus for me to think, how can I pay forward this incredible treatment that I've had, this incredible support from the Irish Cancer Society and, you know, other people that, you know, systems that are in place around cancer in Ireland. And it was such important support for me, really, and I have experienced it firsthand. And so I thought, right, how do I get involved? What can I do? And so they approached me about becoming an ambassador for the day. And actually, when I arrived I got the train up from Cork today and arrived at Dublin and was met by a sea of yellow T-shirts and fundraisers. And my tears aren't very far behind my eyes today, actually. And I think it's because I felt so emotional seeing that and really connecting.
You're feeling the love. So how important is a day like today for you, Daffodil Day?
It's huge. It's hard to put it into words, but, you know, in order for them to do the incredible work that they do, they need to raise 30 million this year, and only 5% of that will come from the government. So it's all from the support of the people, really. We
were talking about that and we were so surprised it's such a small amount.
I know, it's their biggest fundraiser, and like, as you know, many people are touched by cancer.
Absolutely. 1 in 2 now. This is what we're saying, which is...
It's a staggering statistic. And of course, you think about the families, you know, they go through it with you. When you go back and you think about your girls, Isla and Isabella, did they have any inkling Mummy was sick, or like, how do you even find the words?
That was it, and that was actually one of the first reasons I went to the Daffodil Centre at CUH was to say, how on earth do I explain this to my children? At the time, I had an 18-month-old and 4.5-year-old, so they're 2 and 5 now.
So young,
but so little,
so young, especially an 18-month-old baby.
Yeah, so I suspect she didn't have...
No.
She definitely, you know, children are so perceptive, and all the little changes and the hushed conversations in the house and all of this kind of stuff, they are aware of things. So it was really important for me to find an age-appropriate way, especially for my 4.5-year-old, to explain that my appearance was going to change, that I'd be going up, you know, having some very strong, the way I worded it, very strong medicine, and, you know, it would make me very tired. But
what was her reaction when you were saying this?
You know what? She actually, our kids are amazingly sort of resilient, and she took it on board, and she was like, "Okay, Mummy." And I think I made her. She kind of accepted it in that moment. I think still questions still come up, and I really try to create an environment where she can always ask me anything, and I will try to answer as truthfully as is appropriate and as I can.
Scary for you as a parent, scary for her, but also what you're saying there is communication is key in a situation like this.
But also finding the words when you don't have them yourself and you've not processed it yet yourself. And so that's where the Daffodil Centre, she gave me resources, she gave me the language, she gave me a framework that I could take home, and that supported me through that moment where I couldn't find the words, honestly. So,
well, more importantly now, Ali, how is your health? How are you holding up? Yeah.
The touching, all of the things.
We'll touch for you too.
Thank you.
Everyone touch a bit of wood here. Virginia, come on, grab some quick.
All the crew doing it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. This is what I miss as well, being part of a crew. Like, I love it. I absolutely love
they have their moments, Ali, don't be funny. We run a tight ship here, you and I do, darling.
I see that. But I miss this as well. Yes, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. I've finished my active treatment. I've moved into my preventative treatment. And as I sit here today, it is really hard to say it out loud for some reason, but I am cancer-free. And
well, I'm sorry.
That is amazing.
Like, you being here on Daffodil Day with us, it's hard not to get emotional when you're sat here. You will inspire so many people. And can you tell us, finally, currently, how is life for you in West Cork?
it's good. It's really good. Like, I love it. I love that I get to be here and enjoy the summer and enjoy my children. And yeah, it's a very special place for me. I think even while I was having my treatment, the fact that I could go home and walk on the beach and breathe and had space around me, an incredible community, when we were talking about that in the green room, weren't we? But the support of the community is incredible, and I've never experienced anything quite like it. Like in London, I had, I knew the people in the flat below and flat opposite, and great mates who have been out to visit already, which is wonderful.
Well, now that you're calling Ireland your home, could we ask, will we see you in any Irish telly anytime soon?
First city.
Look at me giving it 2 big thumbs up. First city, yeah, I hope so. I'd love to. I really hope so. I want to pull, going through something like this makes you want to pull everything, everybody, anything that matters to you closer to home.
Life is so precious.
Yeah.
And life is so short, and how lucky we all are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here. And thank you for trusting
Thank
us
you.
with your story. We so appreciate it. Thank you so much. Big round of applause to Ali. Thank you.
For more info on how you can take part in Daffodil Day, head on over to cancer.ie.
Can I get a tissue, please? Still to come, we chat to social media sensation and Donegal darling Eric Roberts after the shop break. See you in a bit.